Well, this is the 85th Annual Academy Awards, and I can't think in recent time of a closer race, a more competitive race than it is this year. Many of the categories are anyone's guess, except for maybe two. And one of those is very interesting. One of those is Best Picture. It hasn't been since 1990 that a film whose director was not nominated for Best Director has won Best Picture, and this year it's going to happen with Argo. Ben Affleck was not nominated for Best Director, although he did get a DGA, which is a Directors Guild of America award, but was not nominated by his directing peers in the Academy for Best Director, yet his film Argo seems to have the momentum, at this point unstoppable momentum, to win Best Picture. Driving Miss Daisy was the last one. It's only happened two other times before that. In 1929 with Wings, which was the first picture to win an Academy Award, and then in the 30s with Grand Hotel. So it's a real unusual event. Anne Hathaway is a sure bet in Les Miserables for Best Supporting Actress. Of the remaining categories, Best Actor is probably the one that well, is not as difficult to call, because I think that Daniel Day-Lewis pretty much has it wrapped up as Lincoln. Best Actress is, I would say, a three-way race between Jessica Chastain for Zero Dark 30, Jennifer Lawrence in Silver Linings Playbook, and the French actress Emmanuelle Riva for Amour. And my gut feeling is that if Chastain and Lawrence, who are both really popular and have their supporters in the Academy, split the vote, Emmanuelle Riva can pull this through. I mean, she plays the kind of role that always wins. I mean, she plays a dying woman. You know, Hollywood always loves to vote for alcoholics, prostitutes, and people who are dying, and this fits the mold perfectly. And she's also a legendary French actress. And she's 86 the night of the Academy Awards, and what a better birthday gift than for her to win the Oscar for Best Actress. That could happen, and I'm predicting that it just might. Best Supporting Actor, again, another close race. Tommy Lee Jones for Lincoln as Thaddeus Stevens, and Robert De Niro, who hasn't won an Oscar in decades. And I think the Academy might like to reward him with a third Oscar. He won once for Best Supporting Actor for The Godfather Part 2 and once for Best Actor for Raging Bull. And he's up this year as a supporting actor in Silver Linings Playbook, as a guilt-ridden father and a Philadelphia Eagles fanatic. So again, mixing that tragedy and comedy. And the film does that so deftly. For Best Director, with the absence of Ben Affleck, you'd have to say that Steven Spielberg would be the favorite, because his film Lincoln got 12 nominations, which was the most nominations of any of the films. Although Ang Lee got 11. I mean, his film, Life of Pi, got 11 nominations. And many people said that book couldn't be made into a film. It's now the highest grossing movie of the 9 films nominated this year, worldwide, with $600 million. Nothing comes close to what it's made. It's very popular. I would say more popular outside America than it is here. Hollywood notices such things. So in a very tight directing race, that could play into the mix. I would vote for Michael Haneke, who's Austrian, and he directed the film Amour. Now, Amour is a French language film, but it's an Austrian nominee because the director, Michael Haneke, is Austrian. He just used a French cast and used Paris as his backdrop. And it's very rare for a film to be nominated in the same year for Best Picture and Best Foreign Language Picture, and Amour was. So, should Spielberg not win, and the only reason why he wouldn't is that because people think he's won enough. Although he only has 2 Oscars, but he has 2 Oscars. The big awards season sort of begins in right after Thanksgiving, with the major critics awards, like the National Board of Review, the New York Film Critics Awards, the Los Angeles Film Critics Awards. Everyone was picking Zero Dark 30 to win. And so everyone thought, okay, this is the film to beat for the Oscar. It's timely, it's patriotic, it's about, you know, the hunt for Osama bin Laden, and a female director, Catherine Bigelow, who won for The Hurt Locker. And so suddenly it started to not do so well with critics, and also when it got to the Guild Awards, which are professional film associations, the Directors Guild, the Producers Guild, the Writers Guild, all of those, it started not winning in those areas. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that several congressmen and senators found problems with the accuracy of the film. Now, Catherine Bigelow went and did interviews all over the place on television, as well as a cover story in Time magazine trying to defend the film and say that they got their information direct from the horse's mouth, from the agents who actually worked the case. What I think people found more disturbing was the 20-minute scene of torture in the first half hour of the film. And America doesn't like to think of itself as a country that tortures. So I think that the film is being punished not because of its quality, but because of its message. And the way its message is being misconstrued. I don't think that the film takes a point of view. I think it allows the audience to decide what's right and what's wrong. And I think that those politicians made it impossible for Zero Dark 30 to score more than a few technical awards at most. I think one of the biggest surprises this year was the lack of nominations for The Master, starring Philip Seymour Hoffman, Amy Adams, and Joaquin Phoenix, all three of whom were nominated for acting Oscars. I don't think any of them will win. I think it's a film that is, for lack of a better term, an art house film, and I don't think a lot of people in the Academy actually understood it, which is not saying anything pretty good about the Academy. They should have understood it, and they should have seen that it is a great piece of art. It's disappointing that it's not in the mix for Best Picture. They had one more slot. They could have nominated it, and it should have been nominated. Joaquin Phoenix gives maybe the performance of a career in this film and will not be recognized because Day-Lewis is going to be impossible to beat. The reason why Lincoln got 12 nominations is because of Day-Lewis's performance. I would say that for every category in the acting group, like all 4 acting categories, each of which have 5 nominees, you could easily have filled them with 5 more that were equally as deserving. It was that good a year for filmmaking. So if there's ever an Oscar show that you want to watch, it's this one. It's, I think, the toughest to call in most of the categories. And also, the performances and the work is some of the best that's been done in maybe a decade or two. I know I'll be watching it, and I'm looking forward to it, as I do every year.